got me now. You know the hood got me now. With the ball every day, you know if you boo got me now. So the smile on my face, but it the shoe got me now. My money so my money don't
All right, so we're
got me
just gonna
now.
jump right into it. Just introduce yourself to people. Let us know a little bit about you.
What's going on, people? My name is Ebun, also known as Mr. LBF, and I'm co-founder and creative director for soccer apparel brand Live Breathe Futbol. Very interesting upbringing in the sense of, you hear the classic story of Nigerian parents, like, you gotta be a doctor, like, pick between these four professions, and,
right?
Doctor, lawyer, whether it's a nurse or engineer, right?
Engineer, yeah.
And it's like, okay, if it fits in any of those four things, you're cool. But anything outside of that, you don't even mention that to me, right?
It's a very difficult conversation.
And my parents, I can't remember once when my parents ever made it known to me that I had to choose. My dad was an orthopedic surgeon, right? And I remember always going to his office, and he always used to get these, it was called like the Journal of Bone and Joint Surgery, shipped from the UK or whatever, right? But I think at the time, he would get like some of the photocopies, he would have the original copies at the house, and the photocopies would be at the office, and they were only one-sided or whatever, right? And I'd go to his office or whatever, and I'd just play with all these like hip replacement things and all that, and like, he'd be like, here's a piece of paper, just draw, right? And like, that was the first time like I discovered I could draw, and that shit like blew my mind. I was like, oh my god, son, like this is, it's kind of like that sort of like the irony in the sense of I'm drawing on like medical journals, right? Like I'm in my dad's office, and like, most dads take their son to work in the hope of this kid can follow my footsteps. But I remember earlier on telling my dad, like, I don't like what you do. Like, I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to like fix people's knees and hips. Like, I want to draw stuff. And like, I never remember him going, no, you have to do this. And he's just like, okay, that's cool. Like, do you whatever you want. And I think in a way, I'm kind of like the perfect fusion between my dad and my mom. My mom's creative. She in Nigeria, she had business. She was making wedding dresses for people, and cakes and all this kind of thing. It's like my entrepreneurial like sense comes from my mom. But at the same time, I'm a very analytical person, a very sort of calculated person, and I get that from my dad. And then like I'm good at math and science, but I can also I'm also very creative. Like, I think I get that from there. To be honest, for me, it's very not difficult to pinpoint that, but like, so my dad left Nigeria early. Like, he got a scholarship because I guess he was like too smart or whatever. Like, he got to go to school overseas. So he went to college in Ireland, in Dublin. And so I guess he saw that. And ever since I was growing up, like, the plan was never for me to finish school in Nigeria. It was always like, we're going to leave to go to school in America, because he saw that very early. So, and I remember my dad, my great grandma used to live with us, and like my aunt and my uncle lived with us, and like they generally spoke Yoruba as their first language. And my dad was like, these kids do not speak Yoruba to them, speak English to them. Like, my dad made sure that like I read books in English, and like I was, so in a sense, almost like at least my dad didn't really, so that Nigerian-ness, like that sort of cultural thing wasn't as important as the academia and the sense of like, know what you want to do in life and go after. I remember I would take walks with my dad and just around like our compound or whatever, and I just remember this one time him holding my hand and just telling me like, Ebun, like, you can do and become anything you want in this world if you're willing to work hard for it. And he said, and one of his like famous taglines, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. And hearing these things that and the thing is, at that time, because I left Nigeria when I was 10. So all these conversations happened before I was 10 years old, right? They meant absolutely nothing to me at that point. I'm like, dude, like, I just want to play with Legos and build shit, like draw, and like deliver. I don't care. Yeah. But then, in a way, it was almost prophetic in the sense of him saying those things to me when I was so young was kind of like, I'm saying them to you now because maybe I won't be here when you're older. And my dad passed away when I was 14 years old. And now, when I started turning like 19, 20, and 21, those things started coming back to me. It's like, okay, if you're willing to work hard, whatever you want in this life, you can have if you're willing to work hard for it. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. Those two messages is what has pretty much guided my life up to this point. It's like, okay, this thing that I want, I'm going to I'm going to do whatever it takes to get this thing. And when shit's not going the way I want it to, when things are tough, okay, that's when my character is called into question. What kind of person am I going to be? Am I going to chicken out and let the situation break me, or am I going to stand up tall and be I'm tough in this situation. I'm going to see see my way through it. You know what I mean? So in that way, I would say that's where my work ethic came from. Like my uncle was here a couple of weeks ago from Nigeria, and very recently I've been trying to get more like feedback about people, about my dad from people that live with him and spend a lot of time with him, because I felt like I was cheated out of that when he died when I was 14. Like, you're too young, you don't even care about your dad's character in a way, so you're not really looking to get gems from him, right? So I feel for me to better understand myself as an individual, being that half of my DNA comes from my father, is like, what character traits did he have? What kind of person was he? So maybe some of these things that people tell me can explain things about myself. One thing my uncle said was, my dad was an orthopedic surgeon, and he was head of surgery in Louis Legacy University Teaching Hospital or whatever. And like he said, my dad could come back from being in surgery for like 12 hours or whatever it is, right? Like, yo, I'm gonna take a nap for 20 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever. Don't wake me up. But somebody would call and be like, we need because he was one of the top orthopedic surgeons in Nigeria. So somebody needs to talk to you. I'm like, oh, what's it about? My dad would just get up, not complain about anything, and just go right to, he was so dedicated and committed to his work. You know what I mean? Someone who had so much integrity, and I realized in that moment I was talking to my uncle, I was like, wow, I have big shoes to fill.
All right, so we just wrapped another segment, Consumers of Culture, with the World Connect. I am the African King, and I am Mr. LBF. Mr. LBF, let people know where they can find you, where can you find the brand, where how your social media. Sure. You can find us on LiveFootball.com, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, at LBFootball, STTBOL, and my personal Twitter account is Mr. LBF. All right, well, thank you again for spending time with us, talking to the people who really appreciate it.
Shout out goods me, everybody in the hood me. I'll teach you how one make it Facebook me. Fast Larry, Twitter, Instagram, and still Facebook me. I'll show promoter station, smell it, and book me. At our little show, anytime we go show, you know that I love you. And